Hey guys, it is NCSFan001 here for another one of those weekly trophy list update videos. I guess it's technically bi-weekly this time, because we are actually covering a 2-week period. Today is Monday, December 12th, so this will have covered the 2-week period of, I want to say, November 29th through December 11th of 2022. So, of course, I didn't really do anything at all in the past week because I was on vacation with my family. We went to Aruba, and it was wonderful as always. There will be plenty of vlogs coming up over the next several weeks where I will showcase everything there. So let's go ahead and look at the trophy list. Right now, I got through 3 Platinums 2 weeks ago nowadays. But I first want to bring up Far Cry 6 because, as you can see, it has dropped to 89%. I'm also a little bit PO'd because I'm actually having to re-record this, because apparently my computer just decided to stop recording the previous one 7 minutes in. I guess that was a funny joke there, computer. So anyway, with Far Cry 6, we have the new Lost Between Worlds DLC. It's something fairly different, I think, from what we've seen so far. And I really hate when games do this, when it's like, oh yeah, we're going to give you a season pass out here, so you buy that, you get all the DLC. Oh wait, we were just joking with you, we're going to give you a whole nother DLC to do after this that isn't included with the season pass. Or we'll just give you a second season pass to buy like they did with Borderlands 3. So I'm definitely not happy about that. I'd love to know who gave this game a Game of the Year award that justified them putting Game of the Year edition on their game. I mean, I know that it doesn't technically mean you have to win Game of the Year for anything, and maybe some obscure publication somewhere gave them a Game of the Year. I don't know. However, I do know that PowerPix has written a trophy guide for this DLC, and he said that it's about a 2.5 out of 10 and takes about 4 hours. So that's not too bad, but I mean, I'm not looking forward to actually having to go back and do more trophies. I thought we were done with that game, and I could, go ahead and start the PS5 version at some point. But anyway, as for actual trophy progress 2 weeks ago, we have Saw 2 as our first game, Platinum number 666. So this is not a particularly difficult game overall. I would put it at like a 3, maybe a 4 out of 10, with that extra point of difficulty coming from just how bad the game is and how badly it plays. But it's not overly difficult, plus it's a 10 to 15 hour Platinum. You can knock it out pretty quickly if you know what you're doing. So you're going to get some story-related trophies here. These are for finishing chapters, for finishing the final puzzle of each chapter. This is Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5, Chapter 6, and Chapter 7. So those are basically puzzles you'll do at the end of each chapter, and they are, the end of the chapter. Then you have 3 sort of semi-boss fights throughout the story that give you trophies. The Bullish Man, you'll fight him 3 times. This first one occurs in Chapter 1. You just have to dodge him and make him fall down an elevator shaft. You'll fight another one in maybe Chapter 3 or 4, where you have to have him bang into a certain wall several times. And then you'll fight him one more time around Chapter 6, I believe it is. And in this one, you have to have him run into an electrified piece of metal several times. Then you have this trophy, which is a boss fight. You'll fight this guy several times throughout, or actually you only fight him twice in like Chapter 6 or 7. I think Chapter 7, and then again in Chapter 8. He's just like the Bullish Man, except that he has a bunch of spikes protruding from him, so you have to get him to trap himself into like a wall where he can stick in, and then you have to beat him with a melee weapon. That's in the first one. When you fight him the second time, you have to drop a crate on his head. I know that makes plenty of sense for those of you who have watched the Saw movies. I'm sure that makes sense. And that was sarcasm. Anyway, then this is basically not even a cutscene. This is just a story scripted event. This occurs around Chapter 6. It's unmissable. This is a boss fight at the very end of the game, like right near the end of Chapter 8. So you're going to fight Joseph throughout the game. He's going to shoot 6 shots at you from a revolver. And then every time he has to reload is when you move up. It's pretty simple. Zeke is another boss you'll fight. You'll kill him in Chapter 6. You basically have to do a bunch of quick time events to avoid his attacks, and then trick him into running into a big trap. Then a quarter of the trophy list comes from collectibles. As you can see here, you have to find 25 puzzle pieces, which are just what they sound like, jigsaw pieces. 7 Billy puppets, which are generally a little bit more well hidden, a little bit harder to get to. You have to find 50 case files, which are just, documents, and 20 audio tapes for a grand total of 102 collectibles. A lot of them are actually pretty easy to find because, in general, this game is a lot more, at least it feels a lot more, I guess, linear than the original. It's a lot simpler as well. Because you might remember the original game had a ton of combat trophies. Like, you had to kill an enemy with, like, every weapon in the game, pretty much, including all the traps. In this game, you can only carry a handful of items at a time. You can carry 4 of the healing syringes, and then a handful of other items. You can carry a couple of nails, which are used as lockpicks. You can use handmade lockpicks, which are in a different type of puzzle. And then there's a few other items you can carry at different times. But the game is greatly simplified compared to the first one, in my opinion. I feel like, for the most part, the puzzles were, I guess, almost simpler or easier, or just the game itself felt like things were simpler to figure out. I did have a guide with me the whole time, just in case I ever got stuck somewhere, but I think I only had to use it maybe once, or, yeah, probably like once. I think when I was fighting Zeke, actually, because I couldn't figure out exactly what you were supposed to do. Because I thought you just had to keep running around in circles and like beat him with melee attacks a few times. But then in this game, also melee combat is different. You have to just do quick time events, and your weapons break after one hit, but the weapon kills the enemy. Often not always in one hit. Some of them kill him in one hit. Some of them take like 3 hits. Just depends on the weapon. There are no firearms. There are no traps to build. None of that. So the game is definitely simplified a bit. Then we get a bunch of trophies here for solving puzzles in a certain amount of time. The times are listed inside of like your pause menu within the game, or your select menu, one or the other. And for the most part, none of these trophies are really all that hard. A few of them took me a few tries, but for the most part, I didn't struggle too much with these. So the point-to-point minigame is your standard circuit lineup puzzle. You have to get the light to the other light, so like a yellow light to its yellow end connection point, and then later on they add in green and blue. And for normal difficulty, you'll probably get this naturally while playing through the game. For insane, you can do it at the very beginning of Chapter 5. By the way, when it comes to difficulties, you can beat the entire game on normal, and then just go back and do insane on Chapter Select. As far as I can tell, the only difference on insane is that you die a little bit faster. That's the only thing I can see being different, and that the mini-games are a little bit harder as well, but not significantly harder. Polarized circuit is another type of circuit lineup puzzle, except that the red nodes can't touch other red nodes, like the wires sticking out of it, so you just have to make sure that opposite colors are always the only things touching. For this one, I think that there's one in Chapter 1. There's also one a little ways into Chapter 5. Both of those are decent options. The Kaleidoscope minigame is a dial puzzle it's a type of dial puzzle where you have to spin a series of 9 dials that are divided into 4 segments, and you have to make the colors on them line up with the colors on adjacent dials. This is best done right at the beginning of Chapter 7. The Jigsaw Box minigame only occurs once in the entire game. It's in like Chapter 3, I think. So there's like 5 solutions for insane and 3 for normal. And Xbox Achievements website actually has all the images for the insane difficulty, so you can just look at how it starts and then how it is solved. For this one, I think there's 3 solutions. I have one posted in the trophy guide I wrote for the game on PSN Profiles, but I think there's a couple other layouts. Then the weapons case minigame is when you unlock a weapons case using a handmade lockpick. It's very easy. All you have to do is rotate the gears inside to let a nail get to let the lockpick get all the way through. And along with that, we're going to skip on down to the lockpick game, which is pretty much the same thing and the simplest minigame of all. You go into first-person nail vision and basically ride the nail through holes in gears. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense unless you played the game. But for the other 2 types of puzzles, the dial puzzle, this is a rotation puzzle. There's only a few of them in the game. You have to rotate different segments and have them line up to make a certain symbol. This is best done right at the beginning of Chapter 1 because there is a puzzle right after you do the eye surgery minigame at the very beginning of Chapter 1. So it's very easy to get it there, and the solution's always the same. And then finally, the lights out minigame is the switchboard puzzle. There are basically 9 lights on a 3x3 grid, and you have to turn them all off by whenever you touch one, it turns all of the ones that it's touching on or off. And then there's solutions for that one as well. So then this is a Chapter 3 specific trophy. It's early on in Chapter 3. You just have to solve an extra puzzle where you have to move a few numbers around. Eye surgery minigame is unmissable. It's the first trophy you'll probably get in the game. 2 date-specific trophies. You can just change the time, the date and time on your console to those particular days. These are the 2 ending trophies, and thankfully you do not have to beat the game twice, as long as you play it correctly. What you want to do is beat the game on normal while having Campbell survive his test at the beginning of Chapter 1, or at the end of Chapter 1, excuse me. So have him survive and then play through the rest of the game, and you'll get this ending. After that, immediately just go ahead and replay Chapter 8 through Flashback feature, and this time you will automatically get this trophy because the game automatically sets this as the base ending. So yeah, pretty simple, easy way to do it so you don't have to play through the game twice, thank God, because again, it's not a very good game. Watch the credits without skipping is pretty self-explanatory, but it's also on the main menu in case you do accidentally skip. And finally, enter the Konami code, which was the last trophy I did, and that seems pretty self-explanatory as well. So overall, not a very good game, but a decent little 666 platinum. Next up, get to the top 2, Breakthrough Arcade Gaming. Now, I don't do a lot of Breakthrough Arcade games. I've only really done the Our Church and Halloween series. The only reason I did this one was because, 1, I wanted to grab a couple of easy platinums before I went on vacation, and 2, this is one of the only other Breakthrough games I've played previously. I did Breakthrough Arcade Get to the Top 1. I did that like several months back, so I did that one, so I decided why not just go ahead and knock this one out so you get the series done, because you gotta do the series, right? This game is very, very simple because it has a cheat code you can enter at the main menu, and when you do that, it will make you invincible. So the best thing to do is immediately start up the game and get a game over, so just immediately start it up without entering the cheat, and let yourself die on the first level to get your game over trophy. And then from there, enable the cheat and complete your first 10 levels. So just complete 10 levels, you get the platinum. The game is very simple. You just climb upward by jumping and dodging little balls that are fired at you, which would be very difficult to dodge if you didn't use the cheats. So just, jump up through 10 levels and you'll get this platinum in about 5 minutes. There's not really much more else to say about it. It's a breakthrough game. They're all very simple. Except for a few of the Our Church and Halloween games have slightly more, to them, at least. And then finally, we have the North American version of Alexio, because I think this has 3 or 4 versions, but I think it's only PS4 versions. I don't think it has PS5 versions at this time. So for this platinum, this one is pretty simple as well, because there is a God mode cheat you can input, or not even, I don't even know if it's a cheat, it's just like a debug menu type of game. So there's a God mode to it. There's also a flight mode that isn't particularly important, but the God mode is what's going to make this game so much easier. So you have to jump a total of 150 times. That's pretty self-explanatory. Also, you have to do these in a single game, so 150 times in a single game. You have to die 10 times in a single game, or actually, I don't know if you have to do that all in a single game or not. You have to defeat a total of 20 enemies by mostly just jumping on them. And then you have a few more completion trophies here. You have to complete level 0, which is basically the tutorial, as well as level 1, which is a bit longer. And then you also have to buy something from the cat. The cat is a merchant that you will come across at the very end of Chapter 1, or level 1. Keep wanting to call them chapters. But at the very end of level 1, you'll come across the cat merchant, and you can buy something from him, but you need a ridiculous amount of coins to do it, so you have to spend 10 minutes grinding coins within level 1 to be able to purchase it, which is kind of silly, I think. And then along with all of this, it did end up taking me, let's see, it took me about 24 minutes to get the platinum. It would not have taken this long, except that apparently if you take the upper exit at the end of level 0, you will skip level 1, which I didn't know that the first time I played through the game, and I didn't watch far enough through the video I was watching to know that that was a thing. So just make sure that you take the lower path at the end of level 0, and you will certainly get this platinum trophy faster than I did. This is not that bad of a game. This one was certainly better than the Breakthrough Arcade game I played. it was tolerable enough, so I can't really say anything too bad about it. So that was it for actual progress. Let's go ahead and sync up our trophies. So, level 805, 84%, 24,681 total trophies, 668 platinums, 4,260 golds, 6,551 silvers, 13,202 bronzes. So, plans for the upcoming week. This week's schedule should be pretty normal and all, because college football season is mostly over. Though it's crazy to think that Christmas is just 2 weeks away, so I'll be away for that weekend with family and all. But the current plans for December are, of course, to knock out Uncharted 3's remaining DLC trophies that I think I can get. I know there's at least like 4 that are obtainable completely, and then there are several others that are questionable that I need to do a little bit of testing on. Conan Exiles, of course, is one of the other old games I really want to clean up. And then Far Cry 6, I guess I'm going to have to play that again now. I mean, I want to see how expensive it is, though, because I'm sure it's going to be some highway robbery cost of a DLC, so I'm definitely concerned about that. But I do just kind of want to have it done, and I know that I can knock it out in like a day or two, same with Conan Exiles, so I just kind of want to get those done and get my completion back up as high as possible before the end of the year, and then the Division 2 if I have time for it. Along with that, in January, GTA 5 and Dead Island Riptide, February, Outer Worlds, March and beyond, COD Classic and Shadow of the Colossus, as well as other old games. As for future DLCs, Minecraft should be getting another DLC sometime fairly soon because it's been about 6 months, so I assume that we will get another piece of DLC for it if it follows its typical pattern. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, I actually still really hope that we get some actual level packs for that game instead of just the character packs. It's one of those rare times where I wish we had DLCs with trophies in it because I enjoyed the game a lot. And because, I mean, again, I enjoyed the game and they've only been giving us character packs. I want some actual level packs. That'd be kind of fun. Those streams did great too, so I would love to be able to stream the game some more. And then Horizon, I've been told by the boosting group that supposedly Horizon is going to be getting DLC in the spring around April, which is to be expected. That would be a little over a year after the game released. Presumably that'll be their story expansion where we'll see what happens with everything that happens at the end of the game. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone that hasn't played it. So I assume that's going to happen, so I'll have to go back and play that game again when that happens. But otherwise, that's about it for future gaming plans. So that's going to be pretty much it for this video, guys. Please like, favorite, share, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't already. Like I said, this week's schedule should be pretty normal. Shouldn't be anything crazy going on. I really definitely want to do more streams of Fallout 3 because I'm enjoying that series so much. I mean, you guys seem to be enjoying it as well. However, I might actually do a sort of intermission type of part, or just part 5 as a video, because I kind of want to go back a little ways to an older save in Mothership Zeta and grab some of the things that I just completely carelessly missed for some stupid reason. I want to go back and get those just to be able to show more of the game and just to have those weapons moving forward. As long as I don't hit level 14 along the way, it's fine. So, yeah, that'll probably be the next thing for Fallout. Maybe I'll do that like midway through the week or later on in the week, but we'll have to see. Along with that, there will be Aruba vlogs coming out over the next several weeks, possibly the next month or more, depending on how quickly I can get them edited. So, should be a pretty busy rest of the month, actually, at least for videos and for a few streams. But of course, the week after this, I'll be going home not this coming Thursday, but the Thursday after for Christmas. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys later this week for some more content.